Hello folks, I am Ferret, trying to run my Ferret gaming blog, which will feature games that I am currently playing because I'm interested in them, and not because they are hyped up or have been newly released. So as you can see, first impressions of Minecraft, rain. Great. Isn't that something you always love? Okay, now this big stick is actually the spawn point for the server. I marked it a little bit too late, unfortunately. However, it might still do me good where it is right now. So as you can see, we're standing in a very rustic looking structure, or a skeleton of a structure, more to speak. And this is my first big project for this server. Uh, since it will be the first thing you see when you get on the server, it will be the central hub for spreading the world out and building other things. I want the server to have a cohesive look, and this is why there is no 3x3 grid mud house or something. I want there to actually be this like sense of inspiration when people log in and see this thing. I want them to say, oh hey, this looks amazing. I want to go, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes worth of marching that way and build something that looks equally as awesome but different enough to be their own project. Now as you can see, we are in a flat giant courtyard. Let me just tell you that courtyard was not always flat. We have a forest biome up here, surrounded by, what is it, a swamp biome on those three sides. And let me tell you, they updated the biomes recently, so they would be bigger, and bigger they are. And not just by a little bit. So as you can see, I have this square courtyard. It looks pretty even from all the sides. At least it should look very even on all sides. That is the look I am going for. Long hallways leading below the courtyard through a tunnel system. Where each gate has an underpass with a tunnel that will lead to the center of this little thing that will be a fountain later. Maybe. I'm not too sure about that anymore. However, you can see that each side also has a big gateway. And that is what I am working on right now. You can see I have done a little bit of decorations already to the place. I don't want it to be a giant cobblestone building. Alright, so heading down one of these tunnels. You can see back there, there's more sets of stairs and rain from above. And it is actually the exact same as the thing we had over there. Now this inside room, I'm not quite happy with the way it's working out. I might have to actually change my concept. But this is supposed to be like a fountain elevator. Something that you wouldn't think of using immediately, but once you do, you know, it just makes sense. So as we crawl, swim our way back up here at the slowest speed ever, we are now faced with a decision of which gate to exit. Luckily for me, I haven't really gotten that far in building it, and I know this gate with the wooden fences on the top is the one I need. Down here, we have our base of operations. Nothing too much going on here. This is solely for the purpose of storing items, baking goods, like cake. My anvil to repair tools, which, by the way, I host this server through CraftBukkit for myself, so I can use the the McMMO mod. And it lets me do a whole bunch of neat things, like collect levels. Who doesn't like levels? Isn't that just amazing? Alright, so anyways, like I said, this is my base of operations. This will of course not be turned into anything permanent. it is just here as long as I need it to be. You can see this is going to be quite big, so where do I get my resources from? Obviously there's not a lot of sand around. There's a little bit of patching going on every few lakes, but if I would need sand, I would actually have to traverse the whole swamp and dig up all sand blocks. Now that's just not very efficient. So I set out in all directions actually. This was the last direction I checked. I kept wandering and wandering until I got to the biome borders in hopes of seeing a desert. Now of course, with my luck, it was the very last direction I checked. It's not too long of a walk. It's just long enough to be inconvenient to have to run back and forth. I am thinking of making a tunnel system as soon as I feel comfortable with dedicating that much time to it, because this will actually be my second project. Second project, you say. Well, what is this going to be? Well, it's going to stay a desert, I hope. And how I'm going to do this, since I obviously said I'm using this for resources, what I do is I dig too deep, I place in cobblestone, and then I cover it back up with sand. What does this do? Well, for one thing, I now have cobblestone everywhere. What does this do other than that? Well, let me just show you right quick. As we head down these very well hidden stairs, nobody would ever guess there's something there right now. Head down, you run into this thing which catches you so you don't fall down into this pit that I mine from. And this will be my second project, not of course the mine, but using the hollowed out space, which will hopefully be fairly big by then. But until I get the first project done, that is not going to happen. And until I get that first project done, I will be mining lots of resources to finish it. This is where I'm gonna come and hopefully knock out two flies with one stone by making sure I have the space available needed for my second project. Just a quick look above, you can see that this is what the desert looks like from underneath. It's not very pretty, but it actually is going to be part of the look I am going for underneath the desert for my other project. So that too is a nice side effect. As you can see, I got resources in the wall. I like collecting resources. It's one of my favorite things to do in Minecraft, seeing as resources are always important to build things. However, I'm a very symmetrical person, and I will make sure not to mess up that symmetry just for some coal or iron. What I can do actually is just very quickly start mining out more. Now this mod that I was referring to earlier, McMMO, you may have noticed sometimes I get 2 blocks dropping. That is because every skill level you get here, like mining 133, every skill level you get here gives you 0.1% chance to get a double drop. You got everything from digging, picking up mushrooms, woodcutting. You also got sword skills and everything, which will add extra damage, blockage, and another interesting thing is your repair, for example, which lets you fix up tools using one resource of the same kind of resource that was used to build it in the first place. In the case of stone tools, this would be like 1 cobblestone. And last but not least, acrobatics, for example, will negate fall damage if you are lucky. The higher your level for acrobatics is, the more likely it is you will negate. There's 2 different ways to negate it. One is just a normal roll which happens automatically. This is chance based and it will reduce the amount of damage you take in by a certain percentage. And the other way it negates damage is if I were to, let me see if I can demonstrate this. Hopefully it procs. That would be perfect. But for example, usually you would hold shift and lean up against the edges. Well, in this case, I would actually walk off and then hold shift. And actually, no, it didn't negate anything. However, the more damage you take, the more experience you get in acrobatics. So basically, the more damage you take, the less damage you will take in the future. Pretty interesting. Yes, but this is part of the reason why I like MCMMO. It adds little benefits, it adds numbers. What else is there that I could possibly even want? As you can see, I am mining my own resources. That is because I believe in rewarding stuff appropriately to the amount of effort they have put in. In this case, it's me. I do not want to simply just use creative mode. I want my buildings to have a meaning to it. Not just like, oh, and there it is. I want it to be like, oh, this was taken from somewhere. It was a lot of work. And this is what I managed to turn it into. And I don't know. I think it's, for me, that's a very interesting part of this game. Is seeing what you can do with something somewhere else. Basically, pick up block A here and place it in location B. And okay, as you can see, I'm just digging straight down. I have no regard whatsoever for these nooks and crannies. As I mentioned earlier, just like the jagged surface above, they will actually help. Later on, I will have to add my own ruggedness to the sides. I'll probably have to start coming up with something soon before I dig in too deep, and I'll have to scale the walls everywhere. Oh, chicken. Get out of here! Very quickly to get back to this, the cobblestone thing. By placing cobblestone on here, I can safely dig from underneath without ruining the landscape up here. This will let me use this biome, at least on the top, for something deserty like who knows, pyramids are a very awesome thing to have. I've built one on another server that was just freaking huge, which was all legitimately mined, and with the torches placed on every corner on the outside, at night it would glow up, at least a silhouette of it, and it would just look amazing. And you know, that's the kind of stuff that I like to do with deserts. Desert housing, small but nice looking, and this is why I don't want to ruin the top of it. Besides, if I mined out all the resources that I need for other projects from this place, I would probably be left with a big pit that looks nothing like the rest of the world. That's not always very nice looking. So I try to keep that cohesiveness in terms of keeping the world looking like it's actually a world and not just a little area that is right next to a big crater. Oh, great. Well, there goes part of my crafting and chest. Well, my inventory overlay. Okay, I think that was pretty much it for now. As you can see, I have just recently started on this server because there's not much done on it yet. The projects are big in scale, and I hope they will be worth watching or continue developing, more likely, or more appropriately. And don't know. I hope it interested you enough for you to come back. This is Ferret, and I will see you next episode.